Next one I found quite funny. Just said the Pigeon detectives. Why?
That's proper indie Landfill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're just just one of those bands that you kind of go, no disrespect to them, because they were nice blokes and everything, but one of those bands that if they'd never have existed, would anybody have noticed? No, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's when you kind of got the feeling that mud was getting chucked at walls in record labels, and kind of anything would go. Are they still around? Are they still doing something? Have you spoken to them?
No, I haven't, to be fair.
You've got to dig into that. That's definitely got to be unpicked.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It was like, I'm sure we'll get into it, but there was like it was almost like a different scene where it became a bit more, it became for a different audience almost, kind of like an element of those indie bands.
How do you mean? What?
I don't know. I just I think about bands like
subgenre?
Pigeon Detectives and maybe like Cortinas. It just seems it's almost like a Radio X type audience where there is a crossover, okay. But
yeah,
it's almost slightly more mainstream, more laddie, I suppose, maybe.
Yeah, no, I totally know where you're going. Yeah, I think there was. Yeah, there was definitely a positioning thing going on. Do you remember there was that? There was a scandal, very much kind of accelerated and expanded by the NME, obviously, where they'd been at a gig, or they'd done a gig at a club, and they'd done a wet t-shirt competition, like during the gig or after the gig or something like that. Anyway, there was some poor unfortunate lass who I think she'd obviously she was kind of part of the whole thing, but she'd ended up in a kind of with no bra on, with a t-shirt, wet, and it had been this kind of blokey thing that had happened. And I think quite rightly there were elements on the NME that went, what the fuck is going on there? We can't be endorsing this sort of bullshit. And yeah, I don't think that did them any favors in the long term. They really struggled to get past that. I remember the PR was livid. That gave Terry Hall a very difficult time.